Hello, Suzanne Henwood here from Embraining for Success and the Luminosity Project. I just wanted to share with you today a meditation. It comes originally from Mary O'Malley's work, the book, The Gift of Your Compulsions, and the meditation is entitled Inhabiting the House of Your Being. Sarah Carruthers and I took that and adapted it some time ago for a course we were running called The Next Level. And we've recently shared it with some other people and thought it would be worth recording a copy for you to access easily for your own reflection and inner greeting of yourself in whatever way you feel is appropriate. Like any meditation, get yourself into a comfortable position before you start, truly being present and resting into yourself. Remove any distractions so you won't be disturbed and ensure you have the space and time to really connect into yourself deeply. And of course, make sure that you're safe. Don't do this while you're driving or operating machinery. Find somewhere quiet where you can really just reflect, meditate, and hear your own inner wisdom. Being okay with who we are is vital for us and for our clients. If you're a coach or a client, then this is relevant for both groups. Your ability to do that, to be okay genuinely with who you are, has always been inside of you. Maybe just a tiny rivulet that you were not even aware of. Maybe you've paddled once or twice. Maybe now you might step in fully to really deeply connect with yourself. Most of us live in a story in our heads, that cloud of thoughts swirling around, stopping us seeing what there is beneath. And your thoughts don't eradicate what's there, but they do cut you off from the nourishing supply of powerfully, fully being you. And as you stay caught in the story of struggle, you may be hardly aware that just below the thousands of thoughts that you pay attention to every day lies another world. One in which you can totally trust yourself. You can trust in life, you can trust in God, and you can feel the joy that is your true nature. For a moment, imagine the most glorious house. It's bright, it's airy, full of light and gentle breeze. The music of laughter and joy flow freely from room to room. This is the house of your being. Just spend a moment having a look round, breathing deeply into your belly, allowing yourself to be there. This is your house. And when you were little, you lived there, fully open. You lived in your body, grounded in the basement of your belly, and the energy of life flowed freely through you, through all of your intelligence centers, and right out to your skin surface. The floors above were the realms of your heart and your gut, and all the windows and doors were open to life, to vitality, to wholeness. Your heart was so alive that with every beat, the joy of loving yourself and loving life was pumped through all the nooks and crannies of your being. And the attic of your mind was a wonderful place of imagination and curiosity, open to the whole house of your being. You could simply show up. You could be in life's amazing adventure rather than trying to make it something different, something your head told you you thought it should be, or the world told you it should be. You could simply show up with this beautiful openness. Everything went deep and touched you to your core. Remember the beautiful tastes of childhood treats, ice cream cones and Easter eggs. Remember lying on your back and watching in wonder as the clouds danced across the sky for you. You were lost in the awe of living, and it was natural. It's just how you were. Basking in the full glow of living life in your open body and being deeply connected with who you really are. When you said, "I am," it was enough. Being yourself was all that you needed. Nowhere in the house was off limits. You hadn't yet believed that you needed to be different to receive, to be nourished, to be loved. And yet along the way, maybe as a child, maybe in your youth, you became vulnerable to the actions of others, and they began to influence you. Maybe rooms started to be shut off from you. And as they were, your body may have tightened or contracted. Maybe you even placed a sign on the door saying, "Do not enter." And as you grew up and you were disappointed by things that happened, or your house became dark or overwhelmed, confused or even threatened, you locked more and more rooms of your house. Rather than being airy and filled with light, no longer did you dance from room to room, and the laughter stopped. Rooms became full of boxed up feelings. So much so that some of them you had to move away to the basement. So they were deeper, more hidden. They couldn't torment you from there. Those things you were most afraid of, fear, terror, despair, and you kept your belly tight, never breathing deeply to disturb it. You didn't want to open that door again. One day, when you were exploring the attic of your mind, you came across a big screen TV and a DVD player, and you watched movies of your life. It felt safe to watch the movies. You could watch them and not really experience. And you started spending a lot of time there. You rarely went to the floors of your body. You kept the windows closed. And because the movies were so compelling, you hardly noticed that you had lost the true nature of you. That deeper connection with you and with life that you enjoyed so much as a child. Now, in your mind, you appeared to have more control. In fact, you could get lost in control, not realizing that this was actually cutting you off from your embodied wisdom. You started distrusting your own feelings and intuitions, and you started to agree with yourself that you would not venture down there again. Gone was that beautiful openness. Gone was the ability to be creative. Gone was the pure joy of being alive. But somewhere, deep inside, there was that memory, the light, the laughter. But for now, the easy feelings, that tasty food, the quick wins, they seemed to be enough. And instead of going back to who you were, you started to create who you thought you should be. You started looking for the DVDs that showed you how to be enough. And the speaker from the body, well, that kind of got drowned out. You stopped connecting with the deep I am. And over the years, the DVDs changed. They became full of have to, shoulds, ought to. An undercurrent of discontent or boredom, despair stirred within you. So you tried to ignore it, to push it aside. But as you are now disconnected from your inner wisdom below, you started searching for peace and joy, that peace and joy that you knew had once been there. You tried hard to achieve, or you spent on the next must-have gadget. You joined the gym, or you bought a fancier car. You studied harder or further. You searched for existential answers and even went into therapy. But deep down, you know this will never be enough. There's an essential emptiness that will never be filled by all this doing, accomplishing, buying, acquiring. They're all hallmarks of living life in the attic. The deep peace of enoughness will only come when you move back into your body and inhabit again the entire house of your being. Now, your head was adamant that was not going to happen. It remembered those uncomfortable feelings, and it certainly didn't want to go there again. And your heart, your feelings in your heart, they rumbled and flowed. They were determined not to be boxed up. In fact, they kept demanding attention, and you kept distracting yourself from hearing it and feeling it. Eventually, though, those feelings, being crafty and clever, found their way out of the boxes, and you could no longer ignore them. And they started knocking louder on the doors. And the more you ran away, the more persistent they became. You didn't realize that the safest thing to do was to open the door and invite them in. Lost in the ever-increasing battle in the attic of your mind, every once in a while you would hear the sound of the wind outside, and you'd get a funny feeling at the core of your being that there was something more to life than the endless reaction and struggle of the attic. One day you came across a DVD at the back of the shelf. It was dusty and forgotten. It was a DVD about how it used to be living in the whole house. How light and airy it was, such light and such joy, and you longed to be connected to that again. And you recognize that the courage to embrace those feelings, that will come from the gut. And the heart says it wants to. So next time, when you hear a knock from your feelings, you gently open the door, just a tiny crack. And you see all your feelings all standing in a row, all wanting to be heard, wanting to be your friend, and you slam the door shut. But that wise voice from within says it's okay, it's safe. So you open the door and invite them in. And you're astounded that the feelings are way more afraid of you than you are of them. So you start to talk. You have a true heart-to-heart, heart-to-attic, heart-to-gut. And you discover how life has been for them all this time, stuck in dark and empty rooms, in boxes, shut away, ignored. And you realize these parts of you, they're not flawed or defective. They're very young and vulnerable, and they're hurt, and they're afraid, and they need your help. And the feelings start to share what an absolute joy it was being part of you all those years ago, and how much they'd love to be able to be part of you again. And gently, lovingly, they invite you down into their rooms to unpack those boxes of parts of you, parts that desperately need your love and attention. And opening doors and windows room by room at just the right speed. You remember how wonderful it was, living in the fullness and lightness of your whole body. And you feel your body soften and loosen. You notice your breath going deeper again. And that story of not being enough, it just melts away, leaving a warm glow in your belly. And you realize this is what you were truly hungry for, becoming yourself again. Maybe sometimes you go and sit again in the attic, but you know now that you can, when you choose, go and explore, and it's safe. You'll be welcome in every room. And eventually, you'll go into that room deep in your belly where you boxed up all those really hard feelings, the monsters of rage and terror and despair.